Welcome back to Winners and Losers, the show that looks at the highs and the lows from around world football this weekend, and there's fuck all to talk about. It's international weekend, we're bored out of our mind, but we're going to do our best. The first winner, it comes from the England squad. It's Michael Keane, Pato.
Yeah, Michael Keane got a couple of starts this week as England lost 1-0 to Germany and beat Lithuania 2-0. But we don't really want to talk about the results today. What's actually important is the quality of performance, which overall has been pretty good, you'd have to say.
Yeah, not
bad. Southgate keeps saying England must get off the island.
Get off it.
Get off the island. Don't know what that means. We think it means that basically England have been locked into a certain style of play for a long time, and he showed some versatility. England played 3 at the back versus Germany.
Yeah.
They then played 4 at the back versus Lithuania, which actually they seem slightly more defensive against Lithuania.
I don't know why. What's going on?
The Lithuanians maybe posing fewer threats, but perhaps that was because the Germany match was simply a friendly and the Lithuania match actually did matter, and they got the result they needed. However, there were some rogue choices in the squad.
That's an understatement.
Jake Livermore started versus Germany. Will he even play at World Cup 2018? Jake Livermore comes from the Adam Lallana school of whenever you guess his age, it's always 5 years younger than he actually is. How old's Jake Livermore?
He's about 24, in my opinion.
No, he is 28.
Yes, it's
28
mental.
28 years old. Let me tell you some of his stats this season. 74% pass accuracy. Oh, wow. 1 goal, 1 assist for West Brom. What a man. Can he be England's Kante? Can he fire? And the other decision I'd like to talk about is Jermaine Defoe. Jermaine Defoe started for England against Lithuania. Now, I said Jermaine Defoe was shit last week, but I shouldn't have said that. What I actually should have said is he is fucking shit, and he's always been terrible. He scored a tap-in that game. Weirdly, the commentator, Glenn Hoddle, said, oh, it's a good pullback from Raheem Sterling, but an incredible finish from Jermaine Defoe. It's an open goal. Raheem Sterling created a chance out of absolutely nothing. And again, Jermaine Defoe, he's 34 years old. This is not exactly England building for the future, is it?
It's not. I mean, I was at the game, and Jermaine Defoe is so horrifyingly immobile. You don't realise until you watch him in the flesh how little he moves. He can't run in behind anymore. He can't hold the ball up. I don't really know what he adds. Of course, he gets the occasional goal, but we've got to be looking to build for the future more than bringing in a 34-year-old Jermaine Defoe. One man who could be building for the future, though, Michael Keane. Extremely impressive couple of games. Obviously made his England debut against Germany. He is 24 years of age now, and he looked so assured. He had a 90% pass accuracy against Germany in that back 3. And he had a 94% pass accuracy against Lithuania. And that was arguably more impressive because he had more of the ball against the Lithuanians. He was spreading possession really, really well. And in comparison to some of the other England centre-backs, we look at the likes of Jones, Smalling, Stones. Keane leads the way in the Premier League versus those 3 in terms of tackles per 90, interceptions per 90, blocks per 90. He's got less defensive errors than all 3 of them and a better aerial duel percentage. Some of those stats are unsurprising because he faces more attacking traffic. Yeah. But then he's won more aerial duels than any other defender in the Premier League, 108. He's played the same number of accurate long balls as David Luiz, 100. So this is quite a talented 24-year-old.
Yeah.
In my opinion, Louis van Gaal probably let him go 1 year too soon, and at £2.1 million, Burnley got themselves an absolute steal, because if Michael Keane can keep developing at his current speed, he could be a real asset for England in the future. But what do you make of this England team? Is it utter shit, and is Gareth Southgate completely useless? Let us know in the comments below, because I think we are pretty wank.
Our first losers of the week are the Netherlands. I'm used to it by now. Don't tell me about their result.
It's all gone wrong for the Great Orange. Lost 2-0 away to Bulgaria. The Dutch, obviously, dominant on paper, 74% possession I've got written down here, 9 shots to Bulgaria's 6, however only managed 3 on target. And of course, the 2 goals came after very, very sloppy defending. That Dutch defence, really not great. 17-year-old Matthias de Ligt, obviously from Ajax, put in a really impressive display for Ajax last week, but pulled on the orange shirt this week and was not great. However, he did become the youngest player to play for the Netherlands since 1931 at just 17 years of age. The Dutch are really struggling now. 4th in Group A on just 7 points. That's behind Bulgaria on 9, Sweden on 10, and of course, the French on 13, who we're going to talk a little bit about later on in this episode. And in my opinion, they are in serious danger of not qualifying for the World Cup. Obviously, they didn't qualify for the Euros. 2 tournaments on the bounce. That would be terrible, Pato.
Well, I think it's more than in danger. I think the odds are now on them failing to qualify for the World Cup.
Jesus Christ.
It's absolutely ridiculous. But there is some good news. They've sacked Danny Blind after 20 months in charge. 20 months too late. This is an example. We always talk in football about kind of succession planning. We're hearing a lot about Arsenal at the moment because what will happen after Wenger. But the Netherlands did have succession planning, but it was really, really bad. So they had Van Gaal, then they said once he goes it'll be Hiddink, and then once he goes it'll be Danny Blind, who was acting as an assistant. And they assumed that by the point he took charge, he would be ready to go. The problem was Hiddink was really bad when he took over again, and Blind came in a little bit early. But he has been god awful. They failed to qualify under Hiddink for the European Championships, of course, but Blind managed 18 games, won 8, drew 3, lost 7.
7?
That's a 44% win percentage. Some of those losses, 2-1 against Greece. They lost to Iceland 1-0. Perhaps that wasn't as embarrassing after the Euros as it seemed before. But when they went to Turkey, desperately needing results to see if they could qualify, they lost 3-0. They've been absolutely dreadful. From those matches, they scored 1 more goal than they conceded. That's terrible for the Netherlands, who have a history of attacking football. The problem is there is no good coaching in the Netherlands at the moment. There genuinely aren't any good coaches. They used to lead the world in this regard, and now they don't have anyone who plays an aggressive, pressing, modern system. But I wonder if there's a man out there sitting in his cottage in the Algarve, waiting for a call, and that man is Louis van Gaal. If
you can't get him back.
If you could get him back, he was genuinely very good. At least he's an intelligent manager. And you know what? He's successful at tournaments. Like, maybe you don't want to watch 38 games of him in the league because it will be so depressing that you'll want to pull your own eyes out. But in tournament competitions, he's got a pretty good record. You know, he was absolutely fantastic with the Dutch at the last World Cup. Took them way further than they deserved to go. And let's be honest about this here. This squad is fucking bleak. They played Bas Dost up front. And while there are talents around the squad, they've got Karsdorp, you know, they've got Strootman, they've got Wijnaldum. The fact that they're having to play a 17-year-old centre-back does show a certain degree of desperation.
Yes, agreed.
And lack of options. So what's next for the Netherlands? Well, probably watching the next World Cup from the comfort of their own home. But who should they get in as coach? Should Big Louis come back? Or maybe they should look beyond the Netherlands and actually find someone who can fucking coach. Let us know what you think in the comments below.
Our next winners are Les Bleus. That's right, it's France, Pato.
Yeah, they beat Luxembourg.
Big numbers.
3-1, absolutely huge match. They had 62% possession, they had 17 shots, they had 9 on target and 89% pass accuracy. This is, in statistical terms, a total battering. And the squad is looking filthy.
It is so good.
Let me tell you about who was on the bench in this game. Kylian Mbappe, Rabiot, Lemar, Gamero, Tolisso, Kazawa. Not in the squad, Anthony Martial and Paul Pogba. That's how good. And of course, Benzema isn't really available. Ribery has retired from international football. That's how good this team is. At the last World Cup, we were just saying that maybe the problem was their fullbacks, who I think at the time had a combined age of about
74,
something like that. Yeah. But now they've got Mendy and Kazawa as left-back options instead of Patrice Evra. They've got Djibril Sidibe on the right.
Yeah, strong.
Instead of Bakary Sagna. It's really exciting times. Mbappe made an appearance, became the youngest French player since 1955. 18 years and 3 months old. What a man. And he's been linked to Jose Mourinho. Though the numbers being talked about are absolutely filthy. Like north of 100 million euros.
100 million euros. Honestly, it is actually madness. Di Marzio, who is actually usually quite a reliable journalist. I think he had the exclusive on Paul Pogba. A lot of Italian transfers he has the exclusives on. And Mbappe, apparently Jose Mourinho is bewitched by the striker.
You've charmed me.
Yeah, you've charmed me. Apparently bewitched so much he's about to pay 100 million euros for the 18-year-old. Don't really see that happening. Yes, Mbappe has got 6 goals in his last 4 games for Monaco in the form of his life. people talking about him as the next Thierry Henry. I've had enough of that already, because that's got to stop. It's doing my head in, honestly. It is really doing my head in. Every fucker is comparing this kid to Thierry Henry.
When Nick Powell was the next Paul Scholes.
I know, absolutely sickening. Although I reckon Mbappe might have a brighter future than Nick Powell.
I would hope so.
Just about. If Mbappe's playing at Wigan in the next 4 years, I'll eat my hat. There's another man in this game, though, that made a few headlines. Olivier Giroud, who led the line for France and in the process became their 10th top scorer of all time with his 2 goals. He is actually just 8 goals off the 5th top scorer. So he could feasibly charge that down. You never know. 4 goals behind Karim Benzema now as well. And he's played 21 less games than the Real Madrid striker. Some surprising statistics there. But where is Mbappe going to go? Is it to Manchester United? Is it elsewhere? Or should he stay at Monaco? You can vote in the poll above my head right now.
Our final losers of the weekend are Wales, and more specifically, Neil Taylor. Yes, they drew 0-0 with the Republic of Ireland at the Aviva Stadium, that auspicious venue. And this now means Wales are 3rd in Group D. They've got 7 points, whilst Ireland are 2nd with 11 points.
Yeah.
That's only bettered by Serbia on goal difference. So if you're interested in the most boring qualifying group in World Cup history, then
check out that group.
Wales have only won 1 match in the group, and that was against Moldova. They beat them 4-0 back in September 2016, which is weird given their performance at the Euros.
Yep.
And also, you'd have to say they have a decent amount of attacking quality there. They've got Bale, they've got Ramsey, they've got Joe Allen, but they've drawn every game since against Austria, Georgia, Serbia, and now Ireland.
Bad, that is.
Unbelievable. And they were outshot in this game 13 shots to 8. So, I mean, things are yet to pick up for Chris Coleman's team post-Euros.
Yeah, I mean, they're in serious danger of missing out on the World Cup completely here. They really are. 4 points off now.
What if Wales
It's going to be a struggle to get into that World Cup. There were 2 incidents in this game, though, that caught the eye. 23 fouls committed overall, 2 particularly bad ones. Firstly, Gareth Bale on John O'Shea, an absolute horror tackle. And Gareth Bale was moaning about John O'Shea. Honestly, John O'Shea had stitches in his leg after this tackle. It was a gopper. It was disgusting. And then, about 10 minutes later, Neil Taylor, oh, goodness gracious, it's hard to even describe it.
It's a scissor. It's a scissor.
It was a scissor. I mean, Coleman's leg was hanging by a piece of string. It was windmilling around like something on Pornhub.
He looks like he's got an extra knee in his leg afterwards.
It was absolutely disgusting. When he was on the floor, his foot was basically facing backwards. Shane Long was obviously consoling him. And then the Welsh had the cheek to berate the referee. And one man in particular, Aaron Ramsey. Yeah. Aaron, come on, mate. You've had this happen to you. You should not be berating the ref when Seamus Coleman is lying on the floor with half his leg off.
A double fracture to his right tibia.
I know.
Double fracture.
But Wales overall, bad day at the office for Coleman. Bad day at the office for Neil Taylor. Bad day at the office for Gareth Bale. Fingers crossed you miss out on qualification because, quite frankly, nobody wants you there.
Seeing as this has been probably the worst winners and losers we've ever done, we've decided to make it up to you by having a little transfer review segment at the end of this show. We wanted to talk to you about one of the biggest stories at the moment. Tutto Mercato say that Tiemoué Bakayoko has agreed a €40 million deal to move from Monaco to Chelsea this summer. Now, the Daily Express and the Metro are also reporting this, but don't get drawn into thinking that those are extra reports. They're actually all pointing back to Tutto. Joe, what do you think of this move? Do you think it would suit them?
It's a close one. They've got packed midfield full of talent already, and he's quite a similar player to Matic in some regards. In that he is a destroyer. He's obviously younger. He's 22 years old. Apparently, Antonio Conte has already met with Bakayoko and his representatives in Monaco, and the deal is apparently sealed, done, delivered. Whether or not I believe Tutto Mercato is another thing. Look, he's averaging more passes per game than any other Monaco player except for Fabinho. He's averaging 87%. He also regains possession 5 times a game, which is madness. He's winning 65% of his aerial duels. That's better than Pogba. He's also completing more dribbles per game than Pogba, 2.3, and at a better success rate, 68%. But like I said, do you see him fitting into the team alongside Matic? Where does he go? Matic and Kante are already in there. We've got Fabregas can't get a game. Where does he play?
I'm not sure he necessarily goes alongside Matic. I mean, it would give them the option of playing an incredibly strong and hard-working defensive midfield 3 if they wanted. I think that Conte has been forced into the 3-4-3 this season because of personnel and because he's an excellent manager. He's managed to get the best out of it.
Yeah.
They're really, really good. There's tons of talent on that team. But maybe what he wants is the option to play different formations as well.
True.
And plus, Nemanja Matic, whilst I really rate the player very highly, I think he's now 28 possibly, and so it makes sense that you'd start succession planning. Perhaps as well, this is maybe going some way to mollify him because there are reports that he has had some bust-ups with Abramovich over the course of the season.
More than just a few, yeah. I definitely heard a few rumblings that he was really close to being sacked earlier in the season, Conte.
Yeah, especially
really
Inter
close.
Milan were supposedly hunting him down. They wanted him as their next coach.
Yeah, honestly, apparently Abramovich was this close to getting him out the exit door, and then he put that massive run of wins together and obviously stayed in a job. It would have been madness to sack him earlier in the season, but Abramovich is a bit mad, isn't he? But what do you guys think at home? Is Bakayoko a good signing? Do you believe Tuto Mercato? I'm not sure I do believe that a deal has been completely agreed. I think they're probably in talks, but signed, sealed, delivered, I'm not so sure. You can vote in the poll of my head and let us know in the comments where you think he would fit in that Chelsea team.
And if you'd like to know a little bit more about Tiémoué Bakayoko, then check out our scout report on 5 midfielders better than Pogba, where we look into his stats in a little bit more detail.
So that's all we've got time for on today's winners and losers, but make sure you check out Euro Roundup because I'm on it and we'll be talking about
Chile and Alexis Sanchez, we'll be talking about Paulinho and Brazil, and we'll be talking about the hottest young prospect out of the Bundesliga, the USA's Christian Pulisic.
Ooh, and as ever guys, please do like and subscribe.
Catch you next time.
Sayonara.